I often sit on the fence when it comes to PlayStation Now, not because of the lack of quality of the actual library, the catalogue of games on PlayStation Now, but more just because of the fact that I'm a trophy hunter and I finish every game I play, and because of that, my backlog is pretty much never ending, and by taking on PlayStation Now, you're pretty much taking on a 200, 300, 400, 500 additional games to your backlog. That doesn't sound like a picnic to me, but I cannot dispute the fact that there is some pretty awesome games on PlayStation Now for a fee of around £4 a month if you're prepared to pay annually, or if you wait for a sale like £2.50 a month. It's definitely worth your money if you don't have that many games to play. I've had a little bit of a peruse on the PlayStation Now catalogue, and I have to say there's some really awesome games in this library. Like, if you didn't already know, you can play every single God of War game on PlayStation Now, as well as nearly every Ratchet & Clank game. I mean, that's awesome enough. If you haven't played those games, you definitely should. But in this video, what I want to do is I want to talk about a couple of games that may appeal to those trophy hunters out there who are looking for some great games with also pretty fun or pretty good platinum trophies that you definitely should be proud of. So the first game I want to talk about today is Fallout 4, a mammoth of a game, or some may say a deathclaw of a game.
Who's laughing now?
Fallout 4 is one of Bethesda's better games. I was going to say it's the second best, but I would probably say it's the third best, just behind Oblivion and Skyrim. I'm not classing Fallout New Vegas in this because it was made by Obsidian Games and I haven't actually played it, but Fallout 4 for me was my favourite Fallout game I've actually played, only playing Fallout 3 and Fallout 4. Great open world game, strong RPG elements. It's not the strongest, but I really had such a good time with this game. Easily 100, 150 hours you can spend exploring the world, building up some towns, taking on endless side missions, speaking with Preston, whatever he's called, endlessly while he always gives you missions for the Minutemen, or he even goes as far to chase you around the map just to give you missions for the Minutemen. The game is riddled with bugs. It's a Bethesda game, you know, they've tried to patch some of it, and ultimately they have failed with patching all the bugs because it's Bethesda once again.
All of this just works. It's not, I'm not kidding.
But I still had a great time with it, and the Platinum Trophy is something to be proud of because it's quite a long one. It's not particularly hard, coming in at difficulty of around 3 out of 10. It's a Bethesda game, so it's an open world RPG. Make some choices, do all these miscellaneous things, do all these side missions, find a few little collectibles here and there. But all in all, it's a great full round game, and you'll have a lot of fun with it if you like this sort of RPG. Next is the slick and fast Ghostrunner, brought to us by 505 Games. This game is basically the futuristic game that we should have had with Cyberpunk realised. Maybe not exactly the same, but the world it built, the fast-paced action, it is unrivaled in the Cyberpunk setting. We have to all agree in that. You take control of Jack, one of the Ghost Runners, and he basically transfers to dangerous environments, dashing, jumping, wall running, grappling, fighting, and what's great about this game is it's so fast, it's so fluid, and once you die, you respawn straight back in, lightning fast. Even on the PlayStation 4, you're back in the action to learn where you went wrong and to get better and ultimately finish the game. The Platinum's something to be proud of because it comes in at around a 6 out of 10 difficulty. What's fun about it is the fact that you can continue to play it, and it's just so fast, it's so fun, and just jumping back in all the time. It's not like a game where you have to wait countless hours for loading screens. You make a mistake, you learn how you made it, and you jump straight back in a couple of seconds later, and you have a blast doing so. Now next is a game you probably have played if you're on the PlayStation, which is Horizon Zero Dawn. Join Aloy as she, you know, fights loads of robo-dinosaurs, pretty much is the whole game. Open world. It's a pretty decent game, I cannot dispute that. Some people said it's their favourite game on PlayStation 4. It is a solid 7 or 8 out of 10 for me, but it's a really good Platinum Trophy. It's not particularly short, it is about 40 hours to do so. Coming in again, only difficulty 3 out of 10. I will say if you're going to play the whole collection, which is on PlayStation Now, the DLC is a little bit tougher, probably a 4 out of 10 in my opinion, but it's a pretty good story. It's a beautiful looking game. It's got some unique enemies, some unique combat. There's a lot of fun to be had in this one. Although I wouldn't say it's the best PlayStation 4 exclusive, it's definitely worth playing, that's for certain. For those of you out there who like a little bit more of a challenge and love you some Soulsborne, Nioh 1 and 2 are both on PlayStation Now, so you can jump into a samurai setting and fight some big badass monsters along the way. Complete yourself a difficult game, earn yourself a Platinum Trophy for a game that is not particularly easy, and it is very skill dependent. It's probably going to take you anywhere from like 50 to 80 hours depending on your ability, but you'll have a lot of fun doing it if it's your sort of cup of tea. However, for you trophy hunters out there, just bear in mind this one probably is the most complicated trophy list of all the games I've mentioned. There's a lot of collectibles, there's a lot of cleanup stuff. You got to finish the game, you got to stick around, do a little bit more. Although it's the longest game on the list, definitely, but it also just has a lot of stuff that you've got to kind of just keep looking for guides for. Make sure you're always following the guide. So it might be a little bit of the grindy type, might be a little bit harder on the soul and the spirit, but it is the most impressive Platinum Trophy on this list. And finally, I want to talk about a collection. So Darksiders War Mastered, Definitive Edition, forget that right, and Darksiders 3 and Darksiders Genesis are all on PlayStation now, so you can play the entire Darksiders trilogy plus sequel if you so desire. And I have to say, as someone who's only played Darksiders War Mastered and I'm making my way through Darksiders Genesis, I've had a lot of fun with this game series. It's very old school. It's kind of like every game is set upon a different kind of genre. Darksiders War Mastered was kind of like a God of War clone, but a good one. Darksiders 2, which was kind of like third-person action RPG, like the games from 2012 when it came out, and then Darksiders 3 is kind of like a Souls-like kind of game, and then we have Darksiders Genesis, which is kind of like a very, very dumbed-down Diablo. So it's kind of cool that each game is kind of standalone, because the only downside is the fact that all of them are really a prequel to 1. So kind of like 2 and 3 happen before Darksiders 1 even takes place. So it kind of feels like we still haven't had a sequel, we haven't had an ending to Darksiders 1. And with the way THQ have been treating the IP, I'm not sure we're even going to get another game anytime soon. All of these games sit on a difficulty of around 4 to 5 out of 10. There's a few puzzles in there. The combat system, it takes a while to learn. It's not particularly hard, but you do have to grasp it. It's a little bit different, a little bit more unforgiving, because Darksiders 1 and 2 in particular are older games. And they'll all take you between 40 and 70 hours. And there you have it, guys. There was like 7 or 8 games, which I think are all great games. But not only are they great games, they have really great platinum trophies that when you earn, you'll be really proud of. Because firstly, they aren't particularly easy. They all involve some amount of commitment from yourself. 30 to 40 hours at least of your time. All these games aren't particularly easy. They aren't particularly hard. But sometimes it's good just to have a game that you can sort of turn on, have a little bit of a challenge, and earn a platinum trophy. Not every game has to be really hard. Not every game has to be easy. And I feel like that's where these games sort of sit. Nioh 2 and Nioh 1 are a little bit different because they're a little bit more challenging, but the other games I've mentioned definitely sit in that 4 to 5 out of 10 difficulty mark. These games aren't always on PlayStation now, that is worth mentioning. So it is subject to change. This video was made in August 2021, so if you're watching this a year from now, it may have changed. But it's still worth checking out because there's always new games being added all of the time to this pretty good service, I have to say. Thank you very much for watching. Take it easy.
All of this just works. It's not, I'm not kidding.